So I took the phone and I dialed. It went to the voicemail. I'm just like, hey. I don't have to talk to him.
I called my sponsor and said, I want to eat a cake now.
I remember lying on the floor on my back with my arms stretched out and saying, God, I don't know what to do anymore. I give up. I give up. I surrender. That was the turning point.
I grew up in a family of 7, and I was the 5th in the family. I mean, it wasn't nice to live in because my mom and my elder sister, they were mistreated, and I felt kind of, wow, if that's what they're going through, maybe I'm gonna go through the same thing. And I was looking at my dad as, he was actually my God. Everything I was doing was just for him. I wanted him to see it, but it feels like he never saw it. To him, he always had to be right. And I mean, back in my culture, it's almost not okay to express your feelings. And I couldn't really tell him how I felt because I was afraid of his answer. Watching my mom not also respond to him always, I mean, made me think that was the right way. I feel like her fear was kind of contagious. It really changed me to the point I never really want to get married. And I was like, if this is the way my husband is going to treat me, I'd rather die instead of having that in my life. I would say I was a Christian, but kind of religious Christian. So I was talking to God, I'm just like, okay, you're telling me that you're here, you're telling me that you're present, but why are you not doing anything? And that's how I started hitting my head on the wall, and I started hitting the wall because I wanted to end up my life. And I wanted God to tell him, like, hey, don't you see your daughter? She's trying to please you, but you don't see that, don't you? I mean, why don't you hug her? Why don't you tell her that you love her? And it never happened. I'm just like, and I felt betrayed by God in a way because he promised to protect me. I mean, that's what his word says. And I'm just like, well, so what's the point of me praying? I don't want to pray to you anymore. And that's how I also started developing hatred against God. The way I was brought up, he was like, hey, you don't have the right to be mad at God. He's God, and you cannot do anything about that. So you just have to submit, you just have to do it. And I was just like, okay, I'm sorry, God, I shouldn't be mad at you. I never knew I was in a cage because, I mean, that was the normal for me. I mean, that was my life until 21 years after. When I got here to the United States, that was in 2011. So I came here and I met a friend of mine. Well, he introduced me to Jesus. Jesus is a person, someone with whom I could have a relationship with. We had kind of a retreat with some other people. We were supposed to write something on the paper like, hey, what do you like about this person? Why don't you like about the person? And it was only 4 of us. And the 3 of them, they actually wrote the same thing on the paper. They all said that you're trying to conform. Sometimes we feel like we don't know you. You don't want to be open. You're kind of a secret to us. It was really shocking because I didn't know. So I remember that night when I was driving home, I was crying. I'm just like, what are they saying? I don't get that. And I just heard in my heart, you need to forgive your dad. 4 weeks, I kept hearing the same thing over and over, and it was getting just louder and louder. And I'm just like, I got home one night, I'm just like, God, you're asking me to forgive my dad. What should I forgive him for? I need to know. Because I didn't know, I hated him. There's this pastor back home that I talk to him almost all the time, but he's like a dad to me. In him, I saw a dad, and I really love him. So one day we were talking, we were typing through message. That's when he told me, hey, I feel like you're hurt. What's happening? I was like, I'm not hurt. I was still trying to deny. He's like, talk to me. You can talk to me. And that's how I started explaining to him there's been a while that I keep hearing in my heart that I need to forgive my dad, but I don't know why. Then he asked me, okay, do you have a picture of your dad? I told him, yes, I do. He said, okay, take the picture, and I want you to look into that picture. For the first time in my life, I couldn't look at my dad. And I told him, I was like, I cannot look in the picture because I hate him. I don't want to see him. He said, okay. Even if you have to put a picture on the side, put it on the side, and I want you to scream as loud as you can. I want you to express your feelings, say everything, say it, talk to God. I mean, express yourself. And then I started hitting the wall. I started screaming. I was like, why did you do this? Why? He told me, are you done? I said, okay, yeah, I'm done. I said, okay, now I want you to do something different. I want you to forgive. And that was the hardest part. I said, okay, God, I forgive him. When I said that, I took the picture, and I'm telling you, I was able to look at him. I mean, I felt like I felt liberated. And he's like, okay, I want you to do something else. I want you to go call your dad, and I want you to tell him everything you just told me. I'm just like, I cannot talk to him, I'm sorry. It's like, you have to. And we were talking on Friday, and he's like, I'm expecting your call on Sunday. I didn't call my dad that day. On Tuesday, I parked in the parking lot at school. When I was trying to open the door, I just heard in my heart, you need to call him. I said, okay. So I took the phone and I dialed. He went to the voicemail, and I was like, hey. I don't have to talk to him. And I heard again, you need to call your dad. I said, okay. So second time I dialed, I called him, and he picked up the phone. My heart started racing. I just told God, Jesus, I know you're here with me. And there's this part in your word that says, open your mouth and I will give you the right words. So that's just what I said. I said, talk for me. I want you to be my advocate here. So I closed my eyes and I started talking. I'm just like, Dad, there are things I need to tell you.